Hi, my name is Dr. Amy Avalar, and I'm with Acupuncture Practice Systems. This video talks about things that acupuncture students can do now to set themselves up for success after graduation. A lot of acupuncture students assume that success is going to start after they graduate or pass their boards or after they open their clinic. But the students who tend to succeed the fastest are often the ones who started preparing while they were still in school. Most schools are going to teach clinical information, board prep, treatment theory, but very little about actually building a successful practice. So I have made a list of some of the biggest things that I recommend that students do now to help create more momentum for them after graduation. Number one is to start learning business early. Do not count on your practice management course in your master's to teach you everything that you need to know, because there's so much more than would be possible to even learn in that small course. One of the biggest mistakes that a lot of students make is waiting until after graduation to really start diving into learning about business. When I was in grad school, I remember during my practice management class, most of my cohort members were just then realizing that they were going to be self-employed after graduation. So right now, start learning how to market your services, how to network with other providers and business systems, finances, patient communication, and practice management. I teach all of these things through my CEUs as well as my Acupuncture Practice Systems membership. You don't have to graduate to join the Roots membership tier. The earlier you start building your foundation, the easier it is to transition into practice ownership. Number two is going to be secure your professional brand early on. You want to start thinking very intentionally about your professional presence online. This is going to include things like securing your domain name, reserving social media handles, creating a professional email address, and thinking carefully about what your future business name and branding might look like. Even if you're not planning to open immediately, getting this established early can be a tremendous help for later on. Number three is you want to start building your website now. You don't need to wait until graduation to begin building your presence online. You can start building your website, adding professional photos, learning basic SEO and keywords, writing educational content, and creating service pages. By the time you graduate, your website will already have some traction, search engine history, and your credibility will be built up. Number four is to start collecting testimonials while you're in the student clinic. This is huge. It's a huge missed opportunity for students who don't do it. If you are allowed by your school policies, you can ask patients from the student clinic to provide you testimonials, written feedback, or success stories. These can later be used on your website, social media, marketing materials, and future patient education content. Number five is not just getting testimonials, but starting to build public reviews very early on. If it's appropriate and compliant, again, with school policies, you could ask patients that are in the student clinic to leave a review for you on Google, Yelp, or some other professional platform. This can look like you building online credibility before graduation, because patients are a lot more likely to book with an acupuncturist who has online review history. I also want to highlight super important professional disclaimer here. If you are marketing yourself online while you are still a student, you need to make sure it is very clearly stated everywhere that you are a student, not yet licensed, that you are practicing within a student clinic. So you can find me at student clinic of blah blah school. And make sure that it's noted that you are working under the supervision of another licensed acupuncturist. This should be super clearly communicated on the website that you're starting to build, any social media that you're using, any online listings or review platforms. And you always want to make sure that this is compliant with your school policies, your local laws, and advertising regulations. Number six is start creating content before graduation. Students often miss this mark, and they underestimate the power of this. You can be documenting what you're learning in school, your journey throughout school, wellness education, and commonly asked questions about acupuncture. You may already be creating content. Let's say, as an example, you had an assignment to create something for your nutrition class. You can make that into an educational document for patients in the future. By graduation, you could already have followers online, trust that's built, local awareness about you instead of just starting from zero. Once again, a little tip here is once you graduate and you're in practice, you can actually recycle your old posts by reposting them again. So as you come up with content ideas, or you are, let's say you treated someone's knee and you put e-stim on the needles, you could take a picture of that, provided your patient is okay with it, especially if their face and no identifying information is in the picture. You could take that and you can post it and talk about how acupuncture benefits knee pain or benefits shoulder pain, whatever the case may be. But you can already be gathering these pictures, content, creating the posts, and then once you're actively in practice, you can recycle those posts from earlier to be posting now that you can actually be actively searching out clients. Number 7 is build relationships before you need them. Networking is a lot easier when there's no pressure and you're not trying to pay your bills by getting new patients in. You can try early on connecting with chiropractors, doulas, massage therapists, mental health therapists, gym owners, functional medicine providers, wellness businesses, you name it. Before you graduate is a great time to start establishing who might be good referral resources for you. These relationships could end up becoming great referral sources or mentors, possibly even employers or other people to just collaborate with on patient care in the future. Number 8 is pay attention during student clinic. Student clinic is not just about checking boxes for graduation. We all know that there are easier and harder clinic supervisors. I would encourage you to get shifts with different supervisors so you can learn a variety of styles when it comes to both practice and patient communication. This is your opportunity to practice bedside manner, patient retention, explaining treatment plans, patient education, your professionalism, and your competence. The student who takes clinic seriously usually transitions into practice much more smoothly. Number 9 is learn how to talk to patients like a professional. A huge part of practice success is communication, honestly. You need to make sure that you are practicing explaining acupuncture in a simple way that clients can understand. You want to practice answering questions for skeptical patients, discussing treatment plans confidently, and helping patients feel comfortable with receiving acupuncture, especially as many of them, this might be their very first experience. Clinical skills are definitely important, but communication skills is often where you're actually building client relationships and patient retention. Because you can have a great treatment, but if your bedside manner sucks, then patients are often not going to come back to you. What they've learned is acupuncture is beneficial, and now I'm going to go find another acupuncturist who has the bedside manner and communication skills that I'm looking for. So make sure you have both. Number 10 is understand basic financial reality. Most students graduate with very unrealistic expectations or no understanding of overhead, profitability. You should be working on learning early break-even points, taxes, pricing strategy, insurance basics, cost of operating practice. The sooner that you can understand these numbers, the less overwhelming practice ownership becomes. And this is all taught in the Roots membership of Acupuncture Practice Systems. Number 11 is one of the things that I loved to do, but may not be the top thing for you. Number 11 is read business books while you're in school. This is a great time to start reading books like The E-Myth, Profit First, Atomic Habits, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and one of my favorites for people who are more at the level of starting to employ others, Buy Back Your Time is an amazing book. I do have links for these books in another video that I have on here. But reading business books ahead of time can completely change how you approach practice ownership. Now, we all know that grad school is overwhelming, and the reason why I say this may not work for you is because we all know how laughable it is that there is absolutely no extra time to learn anything additional while you're in grad school. This may be something that's more of like you listen to an audiobook over your semester break, as more of a way to stay in the mindset of building your practice, but transitioning from clinical board exam type knowledge to dreaming of the type of practice that you could be building at some point. Number 12 is find mentors and observe successful clinics. Yes, you should be shadowing providers. You should be working on observing their clinic flow, their systems, their patient interaction. I remember being in grad school and I shadowed an acupuncturist who specialized in infertility. One of the things that he would always ask his newly pregnant patients was, do you want me to treat your nausea? And at the time, I had never been pregnant before and I hadn't worked on fertility patients. And so I thought to myself, like, what a silly question. Of course you'd want your nausea treated. Nobody wants to feel nauseous. But for these prenatal clients who were fertility patients, that morning sickness actually is confirmation to them that they're still pregnant, because it has been very hard for them to get pregnant. Now that they're pregnant, they're feeling the morning sickness. And I can tell you, I experienced this myself, that when I had morning sickness, I thought, oh my gosh, this is miserable. But then as soon as it was gone, I thought, oh my gosh, I wonder if I'm still pregnant. I hope everything is okay. And so for these IVF patients or fertility patients, that's how they're feeling. So I thought it was so wise that he asked them that, because surprisingly, and once I understood it, not so surprisingly, so many patients were on the side of, no, don't treat my nausea, because that helps my anxiety with me knowing that, yes, I'm still pregnant. So, observing other providers in their patient interaction can teach you so much about how to talk to patients. Scheduling is something you can be observing. How do they stagger their rooms and their treatments? Communication, operations, all of this is so helpful. Most practices that are successful, it's about their operations, not just their clinical skills. You can learn so much from great mentors. And if you don't have one locally, I would recommend you join me in the Acupuncture Practice Systems membership. We go over all of this stuff, tons of scenarios. Number 13 is understand that clinical skills alone is usually not enough. Again, one of the most important mindset shifts. Being a great acupuncturist is not necessarily going to create patients, referrals, retention, systems, or even profitability. The best, most successful students are the ones who combine strong clinical care plus business understanding, plus good bedside manner, good conversations with clients, and these are going to be students who are usually more able to build a successful and sustainable practice the fastest. So you don't have to have everything figured out while you're in school. This is certainly not a video that says you have to do all these things while you're in school or you won't be successful. But if you start learning business, communication, marketing, networking, and work on building these systems before you graduate, you will be years ahead of where most acupuncturists start. The earlier that you start building the foundation for your practice, the easier that it is to transition to practice ownership. You can join us in Roots to make sure you get all of your practice set up for success with the right systems in place, and we will see you there.